Hello, Francesca here again to talk to you about the colour potential cards. And the second videos of the week we're concentrating on the colours themselves. Last week it was yellow, a highly symbolic colour. This week I thought we'd go with grey. Not a symbolic colour, hardly at all. We picked a card in the last reading that happened to be grey, and I said that sometimes when people pick these cards, if I'm doing a reading, they get quite upset because they're wanting something a bit more exciting, and grey mainly has a lot of negative overtones. You know, you go, oh, it's grey skies today. It's not considered a great thing. So unlike yellow, it's not very symbolic at all, although it does tend to symbolise religiously people who have renounced worldly goods. So it's a colour of humility. So you'll get nuns and monks in the Catholic Church wearing grey. Also the Quakers really favoured grey as well. Now, one colour, one religion where it's not allowed at all is the Orthodox religion, the Greek and the Russian Orthodox. And I went on an icon painting course once. I thought you might like to see this. This is my hand-painted icon. It was an extraordinary experience. They are very, very particular when painting icons, and it mainly tends to be monks, and it's considered a really religious experience. Often they pray or they don't speak while they're creating these icons. And very counterintuitively for a painter, we start with the gold leaf. So that's the first thing you do. So that's all a bit odd. Anyway, the reason I'm bringing it up now is because grey is not allowed in the colours used to paint icons. There is a very strict, quite limited array of colours that are allowed to be used. And grey is not one of them because it is considered neither white nor black. Therefore, it's not a positive colour. It's a wishy-washy colour. And painting this icon was just extraordinary because having started with the gold leaf, the figure, the face starts to appear, and it was really, really powerful. Anyway, that's just a little bit about grey I thought you might like to know. Of course, we have a lot of negative sayings about grey, but there are some positive ones as well, because we must remember Hercule Poirot, Agatha Christie's creation with his little grey cells and his grey matter. So there are some positive sayings. Shades of grey never used to be a very positive saying, although it did imply different levels. The book didn't exist when I wrote my book, and I haven't read it, so I can't comment on 50 Shades of Grey. But maybe that has brought grey into a more positive arena. I don't know. Anyway, as I did last week, I'll show you this is the page on grey, and then this is the three cards that go with grey. So if you pick a grey card and you're not too sure what it means for your particular issue, then there are 11 lines on each card suggesting why you might have pulled it and what you could ask yourself. So I'm just going to read you the first paragraph of the page on grey. Again, as I said last week, remember, I'm not a writer, but I do love writing about colour. Grey is soft and furry and sleek and sophisticated and depressing and sturdy and cool and warm and boring and reliable and tranquil. I was reading Gertrude Stein at the time I wrote this book, so we do get sentences like this, which my husband has a real problem with, but as a painter, I don't mind. I'm not a writer. I just want to paint with words. Grey does not tend to inspire. It is rare in nature, barring weather conditions, and equally rarely do people exclaim at the wonder of a grey sky as they might do as if the sky were blue or orange or pink or velvet black. Even natural objects that at a distance may appear to be grey, such as rocks or shingle, are on closer inspection a seemingly limitless variety of colours. Grey in nature tends to exist as an aftermath, the remnants of an event that has gone before, dust emanating from the collapse of buildings, ash, the remains of a fire, cobwebs, the product of prolonged abandonment. The architecture and sculpture that remains from the culture of antiquity is also an aftermath. Originally, the buildings and statues would have been highly coloured, using the brightest metals and the strongest pigments. Today, all that remains is the restrained grey of the original material. And so I wanted to talk to you about one of the grey cards, and this is it. And it is stillness. So the grey card we had earlier on in the week was support. This is exactly what I've just read about. This is about it being the aftermath. So after an earthquake, after a fire, when the fire stops crackling, and all you feel is that silence. It's like when you're in fog, when you can't really hear anything, very loud. And it's that sort of feeling of that quietness that grey can bring. And this card is a suggestion that you get into the quietness inside you. So remember the question, I have an issue I can't resolve. What positive power can I bring out to help heal that issue? And this stillness is about just sitting quietly with yourself. I'm not suggesting meditation, but do meditate if you want to. But just finding that quiet space inside yourself and going into that grey, that soft, sophisticated, non-shouting, but very strong grey, and see if some of that stillness can be brought out to help resolve an issue. Sometimes issues have a cacophony surrounding them. If you're like me, they could have been going on for years, and there's so many details and events and all these things all get wrapped up in this sort of maelstrom around this central issue. So this is suggesting that you go out of that maelstrom into your quiet stillness and see if there is some solution to the issue there. So there we go. There's a bit about grey. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for joining me in colour.